you realize is how little is captured in a bar of notated drum music. Drum notation, right? Imagine the rock beat. Don't, cat, don't, cat. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like a word. It references a thing that isn't visual. It references an inherently intangible thing because it's just sound based. And like, sure, physics is math, but like we don't experience it that way.
Sure.
So it references a thing in the same way that the word tree, we know that the word tree is not a tree, but it points to a tree. But what the tree is could be a billion different things, right? It represents every tree out there. And that notation of a groove represents not a mathematically perfect version of that groove, right? That's just an approximation. It represents every version of that groove that's ever been played, with all the different tones, with all the different placements of notes, at all the different tempos, with all the different dynamic balances out there. And then, if we take the analogy a step further, then you hire artists, right? And you say, paint me a tree, right? And at that point, and this is really, it's interesting because it ties into the beginner, into the more advanced student thing too, is like in the beginning, you try to technically recreate a tree until you can very mindlessly, easily, technically paint a tree. At that point, you start thinking about not the technical aspects of the tree or the technical aspects of the groove that's written out. You start thinking about the experience of a tree, right? Claude Monet, perfect example. He would be in nature and you say things like, I'm not seeing the tree, I'm seeing the light passing through the atmosphere between me and the tree. Right? The whole experience, the temperature outside, the sun over there, the way that it feels on his face is contributing to his creation of the tree. So now we're beyond the technical aspects of the tree, right? It's the same with the groove. We have that notated groove. But now I'm adding some extra hi-hats, and I'm Jay Dilla, and I'm putting like a tambourine here, and a bleep and a bloop, and I'm moving things around, and I'm taking actually this note out. The notation can remain the same. You would never try to notate a Dilla beat, especially with all the different sounds he might throw in. So now you've got radically different interpretations of the same symbol, right? And then you think, tell Jackson Pollock to paint a tree, right? And it's crazy as Jackson Pollock can just paint a tree, could just paint a tree.
Yeah, no
he was
doubt.
a very proficient painter. But his experience of the tree is this whole other thing.
Yeah.
And that's where relatively quickly we get to with drum notation and music notation in general, especially as like, jazz charts. Ooh, I have one right here. I just was playing a recording session yesterday with all these charts where it's just like, it won't be in focus, but there's a bunch of measures here that's just like time. And the only thing that's provided is a bass line and the melody. And you've got 4 people now painting a tree at the same time, and they can't stop and think about it because music is latched to the time. So everyone's brushes are on the canvas and you can't stop, and you're just kind of watching what other people are doing, and someone takes a big slab of black paint and they go poof, and you're like, this is part of the tree now, right? So it's like, and it's just like this means nothing.
Yeah.
This is the most primitive symbols that reference this thing that can't really be reduced or described with any useful words. And that's the beauty of music. Music is it starts abstract. Right? The starting place is sound, which we don't actually really have a way of reducing into words usefully.